Good morning. Thanks for joining me. Another cold and frosty morning, November, in the UK. You're all welcome. Wishing you all warmth and wellness. This is video 2 in the mental well-being series. Today I'm touching on a subject very close to my heart: grief. Grief and how we can cope with it. Everybody's personal story of grief is different. I can only empathise so much as being a carer for 14 years with my darling wife Vanessa before I lost her to a long-term disease and illness. Being a carer for 14 years, I feel quite empty of caring as deep as I once did, and empty of empathising as I once did. I do have friends and neighbours that I empathise with, but it's not on the same level as I gave to my family, and still do. I lost my wife 14 years ago, plus a month. Not to be confused with caring for her for 14 years. That was a different time scale. I'm talking about I physically lost her 14 years ago. I'm surrounded by memories of her, photos of her, both upstairs and downstairs. I have a photo frame that's animated, and it's one of the first things I power up each morning. I have photos in my bedroom of Vanessa and I, and happier days, and I wish her good night every night. These are just a couple of tools I use for coping with grief. In the very early days, I didn't think I would be long joining her. That wasn't to be. Various circumstances some too sensitive to touch on in public videos. I might consider making videos in the future where I touch on sensitive areas, but not today. I'm talking about mental well-being and coping with grief. When you've had a long-term partner, in my case, married 28 years, and you lose them, it is a big part of your life gone. You wonder about carrying on. Years ago I went through a phase where I didn't want to visit new places because it seemed unfair that Vanessa wasn't there to share it with me. And then I went through a phase of I didn't want to go back to places Vanessa and I had shared, visited, because it seemed unfair. Things changed. I have been out and about over the years. Highlights of my past 14 years, without a doubt. My trip to Silverstone. My middle son gifted me a VIP break for myself and a friend. And my friend and I visited Silverstone all week, and then on the F1 Grand Prix weekend. So being a VIP for a weekend, (2018). Where does the time go? That was one highlight. My son, as with all my three sons, busy with work and family life, all have decent educations, degrees, wives, jobs, houses, mortgages. So they're all going to be too busy for me at some point. Bringing me on to another highlight of my last 14 years without Vanessa. A 900-mile road trip. That was a round trip taking in the east coast of Britain down to Kent, then across to Wales, up the west coast to the bottom of the lakes and back home to Teesside. 900 miles. Initial purpose of the journey was to see my grandson. the outcome of the journey was to see lots of other things. I took my drone and I filmed a few castles and landmarks, and I took all my camera gear and I filmed red kites in Wales. Yep, what an amazing sight. So you gather from my happiness at a couple of different events that you can still find happiness even though you're battling grief. And I say battling because every day you put your armour on, knowing that it could hit you and lay you flat. An event, something somebody says, something that somebody doesn't say, it can all bring it home speedily. As you do daily tasks, bring into your life memories and photos of your loved one that you've lost. And try and savour those moments again and again. They're yours forever. Never stop talking about your loved one. Mentioning her name keeps her alive. Here's to you, darling Vanessa. I'm not God-fearing, but I do believe that you can't create or destroy energy. And I believe just as when I visited her in a nursing home and she passed away hours earlier, the shell that was once a living and vibrant Vanessa was Vanessa no more. Her spirit had gone from the body. It's that spirit that looks over me now, helps me make big decisions in my life, and guides me spiritually. I'm not one for Ouija boards and holding hands and contacting the dead and seances. I'm not one for that. That's all. I'm afraid it's a deception. But each to their own. If you get pleasure from it, carry on. In fact, I would go so far to say anything you get pleasure from, carry on in moderation. Don't drink yourself into oblivion. Don't smoke yourself to death. Nothing in excess that you've taken up since you lost your loved one. Little excesses now and again, i.e. your diet, is a short-lived pleasure. But being human, those short-lived pleasures are what makes us human. I love a cup of tea and a ginger biscuit, and I've been known to eat quite a few gingers. So that's why I look the way I do and I'm the shape that I am. Getting back to coping. Keep your loved one alive. Keep a name in the forefront of conversations. Crowbar it into conversations with strangers. Give friends and relations and neighbours opportunities to mention Vanessa, wish they had known her better, or the fact that they had known her. Keep her alive. It's the best we can do for our loved ones. Grief can be debilitating. Try not to let it overcome your life. There's lots of the world that doesn't care who you are, what you've lost. People that pass your front window every day on the way to doing what they have to do. They don't give a second thought. Cherish the friends, relations, family and loved ones, neighbours that do care. When they say hello, greet them with a friendly hello back. You never know when it might come in handy. I leave a door key with neighbours either side. Why? Well, I've ended up in hospital this year, and knowing they could at least lock my house or check on my house, as they did during my 900-mile road trip. They came and checked on my house regularly. It's comforting. So, if you've got good neighbours, cherish them. We all have issues, we all have problems, we're all in this together. You may well be able to help them through your background, through your advanced years of knowledge, and maybe even a sprinkle of wisdom. I'm going to wrap this up now. Hope that it's been of help, and I want to reach out and just say hi to those that are also suffering grief. Thanks for watching. Join me again soon.